Last week, there was some oral intervener hearings here in Burnaby from a number of participants, including the city of Burnaby itself.
I speak on behalf of the city of Burnaby and its elected mayor and unanimous council. The mayor and city council are the elected representatives of a city of 230,000 individuals. The board and this panel have not been elected, of course, by anyone. Members are appointed by a previous government and therefore are selected with the authority of less than 39% of the citizens of Canada. The board is known for its energy expertise. You do not have the authority to speak on behalf of the public interest of Burnaby, nor the rest of Metro Vancouver, nor British Columbia.
Didn't seem to matter that, Derek Corrigan's party, or Derek Corrigan himself, only got like 28,000 votes in the 2014 municipal election, whereas, Burnaby has about 225,000 citizens in total. And yet that didn't stop the city of Burnaby's lawyer from basically claiming a mandate and a social license for the city council to go and, wholesale just oppose the Kinder Morgan TransMountain pipeline expansion. To me, that was a slap in the face of, the majority of Burnaby residents who did not vote for Derek Corrigan or his party.
Next up, throughout the hearings, we heard from a lot of First Nations bands who had a number of concerns with the project going forward. Now, we heard some present themselves with opinions that maybe there should be changes to the right-of-way, very practical, logical complaints that you might see from a number of different groups. But there was a disappointing part, and Mark, we'll let you tell us more about that.
Certainly. The disappointing part was basically that a lot of the Indian bands, they always basically did fear-mongering concerning, the remote possibility of an actual oil spill, God forbid, happening along the coast.
Trans Mountain seeks to downplay the risk or the potential adverse effects of a spill. Spills from pipelines, however, are a reality. It did not adopt hypothetical spill effects as one of its corridor selection criteria. The pipeline routing has not been driven by hypothetical spill effects. The pipeline corridor selection absolutely should have considered the effects of a spill into the Fraser River.
Moving on to the protest that broke out in front, both of us had a chance to interact with a lot of the protesters. They started by traversing over an overpass over Highway 1 and hanging some banners. From there, you were able to interview a couple people.
If you're against the expansion, you're kind of against jobs too, no?
I would like myself, and my kids and their kids to have clean water, proper food to eat. This is not right. It doesn't matter about jobs.
It's energy for the last century. We need energy for this century. We need to move to clean energy as fast as we can.
I mean, this whole business of fossil fuels is going on and on and on with no end in sight. It's all going to come to a crashing end.
Now, was that Tom Selleck? Did we actually have a celebrity in the crowd there, or was that just a really bang-on lookalike?
I think it was Magnum P.I. himself, a flashback from the 80s, to be sure.
Well, actually, what's interesting about his comments was they seemed a bit more reasonable than some of the others. It just doesn't seem like those are the types of people that dominate the crowds at these protests. I actually came across some of the most radical people in the group that day. Some of you may be familiar with one or two of them, Dan Wallace and Audrey Siegel. They are basically professional activists. They're at May Day rallies. They're at every anti-pipeline, anti-industry event you can name in the city. And when I confronted Dan, he had some interesting comments for me about what he thought should happen to the pipeline, even if they reject the project and there's still that pipeline existing.
Let's say the process gets completely killed and you get your way. What would you like to see happen to the current pipeline that's operating now? Would you like to see it continue to exist at its current capacity or completely dismantled?
Done.
Who pays for that?
Everybody.
So taxpayers. Taxpayers. You want taxpayers to pay to remove an oil pipeline that produces revenue for this country.
I want taxpayers to pay restitution to our people for screwing our people over for over 500 years. You guys stole a country, stole a land.
I was born here.
They put some chalk on the sidewalk, even writing KKK, Kinder Morgan, just really disrespectful things like that. With all this negativity, and I'm sure a lot of people are just saying, oh, it's the same old Vancouver-type BC protest with all the antis. But there was a glimmer of hope, a sign of resistance, if you like. This young guy who looked like a protester, frankly, the way he was dressed. I mean, he was in a denim tuxedo jacket, But what he was doing, as you can see, he actually grabbed one of the protest banners behind where the speakers were speaking and kind of just showed the back of his jacket to us, and it was a well-servicing jacket. But you were able to catch up with him a little later after the speeches and talk to him.
I'm pretty upset just that people who can come down here for this protest at the same time consume the products that they so vociferously oppose. You know, all those signs are made from petroleum products. Their shoes are from petroleum. Their eyeglasses are made from petroleum. Their prescription pills are made from petroleum. And a lot of them are probably going home to a dinner that was trucked in using diesel to the market and heating their homes.
What we heard in overwhelming amount of times at the protest was a frustration with Justin Trudeau. You see, Trudeau had apparently promised to scrap the current NEB process during the last election campaign, only for it to continue on this month. The other thing that we found is that there weren't a lot of people who were aware that NDP Premier in Alberta, Rachel Notley, has actually come out publicly urging the NEB to approve this project swiftly. Something I'm sure the NDP counterparts here in BC hate to hear. For Mark Shankter and the Rebel.media, I'm Christopher Wilson.